Welcome to Your Taxes. The focus is on the tax changes that we have seen in this year's budget, and with me a very special guest, Ms. Praveen Mahajan, the CBEC chairperson, is joining us right here on this debate. We also have Gautam Khattar, Associate Director, Indirect Tax, Pricewaterhouse. We also have with us Rahul Garg, Leader, Direct Tax at PwC. To all of you, thank you so much. Ma'am, let me start off first by asking you the most pertinent question as of now is the genesis of the service tax amnesty. Still lots needs to be known on this particular scheme. Can you take us through what essentially it means and what it means for the department, what it means for the industry out there?
Yes, you see, let me explain, as I was just talking to you, that currently we have something like 17 lakh registrants in the service tax, out of which only about 7 lakh are paying the service tax. Now, this 7 lakh itself has given us a large chunk of service tax revenue, and the growth is about 35%. So, first of all, let me clarify some doubts which might be there in people's minds, that the people who are eligible for coming in to the or opt for the scheme are those who have no investigations going on against them, where there is no show cause notice issued, and where there is no proceeding of any kind is pending against them under any court of law. So, and the time period is, since the limitation period is 5 years, to reopen a case where somebody has not paid up, either stopped paying service tax or not paid up, it starts with effect from October 2007 till December 2012. So, if there are any service tax liabilities which they have, they can come forward and they can pay the amount.
So, does it include waivers? Does it include letting go of some outstanding amount? Or
no,
how does
not
it work?
at all, not at all. It works, he or she comes forward after the finance bill, obviously, and in the first 6 months they make a declaration, a true declaration of their service tax liability, and they pay up 50% upfront till December 2013, because a person may not have the full amount readily available. The remaining 6 months, that is till June 2014, they pay the remaining 6%. If they still are left with some liabilities, and during this period, of course, there is no interest, there is no penalty, no prosecution. And as the Honourable Finance Minister said, we would rather hope that we can entice people into opting for the scheme, because if this large chunk which is currently outside the service tax net, if they come forward, we hope to get some money, and a sizable chunk of money. The remaining 6 months after June 2014, then they are levable, that would be levable to about 18% interest.
Okay, let's also talk about the roadmap for GST. Why not make the draft public? Why not let everybody have a look at what the GST is all about? Because time and again, I believe since 2007-8, we've been hearing about the GST roadmap and the fact that the government is very serious about it. But still a lot needs to be known about how the GST would be rolled out. I know there are issues at hand which are perhaps much more broader than this discussion, but what's actually the biggest impediment to GST, and why isn't the government making it public as of now?
I don't think it is very fair to say that government is not making it public, because ever since the current finance minister took over, which is less than a year ago, he has held continuous meetings with the state finance ministers, at least 2 with the state finance ministers and a few with the Mr. Sushil Kumar Modi ji, who is the chairperson of this empowered committee. And the latest one which he attended was on 14th of this month itself. The main issues, there are quite a few contentious issues, but the main ones being CST, compensation. So, as you must have heard him in the budget speech, he has already put aside 9,000 crores for, as a fact that we are prepared to come forward and take a step forward if the state finance ministers also come forward with, and plus we've set up 2-3 committees. 3 committees have been set up, because there are various issues which or let us say concerns which the states have on this issue. So it should actually take off pretty soon. I mean, a lot of work is being done, but rather quietly. Let me put it this way.
Just to point out here, in terms of, yes, this is something which is a work in progress, but like mentioned, why not have the draft in public domain if there is?
The draft is going to be made. See, because this constitutional bill will in all likelihood undergo a few changes, because to address that itself shows the flexibility of the government, that we are willing to go forward and listen to what the finance minister, all the state finance ministers have to say, and in case they want to make certain changes in the constitutional bill, we will have a look at that. They will prepare it, and we'll have a look.
As a step, this would only happen after the constitutional amendment.
Yes.
Okay, let's also focus on the issue of excise that we've seen. On one hand, excise rates have not been changed, and that's a welcome step. Actually, the industry has been very happy about it. For certain sectors, there was a certainty, almost certainty, that excise rate might go up. They are very happy.
It was a big temptation, believe me.
But on the other hand, there have been instances where for certain items, for certain industries, there has been a bit of a setback. I'm going to start off first by asking about the telecom industry, particularly mobile phones. Beyond 2,000 rupees, mobile phones have become expensive.
Yes, but you see, more than 70% of the people use the mobile phones which are priced at less than 2,000 rupees. So there is a very small segment which will get affected by this increase of 5%. It was already being taxed at 1%. Currently, it will be taxed at 6%. So I have actually done some calculations. If that interests you, you know that the duty incidence is not going to be much on the mobile phones. 5% is not going to really. It sounds big, but it's not going to result in a very big
by
price
not
hike.
hiking the excise rates, how much are you actually foregoing? I mean, the sense was that the government should broaden the tax base, and there have been instances where it has been widely believed that excise would actually go up. So by not hiking excise rate, how much are you foregoing in terms of what you would have actually collected?
I'm sorry, but there is nothing that we are foregoing as such, and we hope that there's always a dilemma between inflation and growth. And the fact is that we wanted to, it is a growth oriented budget, as you can see. And recently, I think Mr. N.K. Singh and a few others have also voiced the same concern. So actually, you broaden the tax base. I think we have lost nothing, and hopefully we will be able to achieve our targets.
But you talk to experts and they believe that on some cases you're actually taxing consumption. For instance, I want to start off first by saying that service tax has now been imposed on all air-conditioned restaurants. On set-top boxes, the duty has been increased. The import duty, duty on luxury cars has been increased. Duty on SUVs, non-taxi SUVs, has been increased quite substantially. And of course, cigarette, that's I think the favorite of the government. The finance minister himself said that whenever they need more money.
But that's good for the health, you know.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But my point is that, are we not taxing consumption all over again? We are already reeling under so much inflationary pressures.
No, actually we have taxed very few people. We are not taxing we're taxing people who can afford to perhaps take in this little bit of extra expenditure, you know. And only there are SUVs, there are yachts, there are motorcycles, there are mobiles, and mobiles also the high-end phones. I think this is the least that we could have done, and you have to analyze the budget given the overall economic scenario. You can't just deal with it in isolation.
In terms of certain exemptions also, like for the common man, the parking, service tax on parking, transportation for household.
Actually, that is more in line with GST once again, because the Kelkar committee and others have also said that you should try and do away with the exemptions as much as you can. And I think since the past 2 years we've done away with central excise and service tax. We've tried to do away with by almost 130 odd exemptions on both the sides. Yes, I agree with you, but most probably they will get covered under the threshold limit.
Just last point on one of the administrative points which have come about in terms of service tax and customs. recovery proceedings under customs and penalties and arrest provisions under service taxes for directors and the other employees of companies. Any process to be laid down how they will be implemented at the ground level, so that
you asked two questions.
Yeah.
One, you are saying about the arrest provisions.
Yeah.
Now the arrest provisions, if you see the statistics, they have been used very, very sparingly, and we have also raised the level at which this will be used. It will be used very cautiously, and if you see the percentage, it is less than 1% of the people who have been where this provision has been resorted to. Number two, you asked me about the circular.
The penalties to individuals.
Yes.
And also the recovery proceedings under customs.
Yeah, recovery proceedings, you see, once you find that is only in a few type of cases, when the goods are prohibited or a false drawback has been claimed or the goods have been misdeclared, the value has been misdeclared. So at that point of time, you have to have a kind of a penal provision which makes the people take you at least a little seriously. But I assure you that we will be extremely cautious.
All right, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us on this insightful discussion. So, as you just saw, experts and of course the chairperson of the CBEC decoding for us the budget and its implications for corporate India. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.